Okay, so what I've got here is I've been working on this murder wasp. And what I want to do is I want to put some final details on here. I've been kind of horsing around trying to do this kind of quick, but I could work on this tons more. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to put some extra little detail on here. So I'm going to go to the surface menu and I'll hit noise. And when I do, just bring this in. So we'll see that I'm getting noise on here, but you might notice stretching on it if I start to put in something like the noise plugin or something like that. So before I actually use this, I'm just going to lay out the UVs. Okay, you might even notice that here there's 3D and then there's UV noise here. So what I'm going to do first is if I just go up here, you can use the GoZ plugin. You get plugin, whoop, UV Master, not GoZ plugin. I was talking about the UV Master, and hit unwrap. And oh, I have to be down the lowest subdivision level. Shift D all the way down to the bottom. That was the hotkey to get down. And then I can check this out again. And so this can get me out of trouble really, really quick. Let's see what it looks like. If I go down here to UV map and morph UV, actually let's put that on solo. And my solo button is hidden a little bit. And I can't remember my hotkey. Just hold on a second, let's pull this up a little bit. And solo, there. And it has this weird little bump thing on. I can turn that off, and it'll turn it on again. There, so now I can see the flat UV layout. And it's okay. I just hit it with polyfill here, polyframe. You can also, if you want to turn off the fill so you just see black and white. I kind of like the black and white. I don't have to see all my poly groups. I'm just going to turn that off, and I'm just going to take it over to Maya for a second. So I'll export it out, mandibles, save, yas, and then I'll zip over here, and I'll go File, and I'll hit Import, and go into Data, of course, and let's go in here to Scenes, and I'll find mandibles. Great. I have symmetry on, so it's just going to be a little bit easier to cut my UVs. Probably the only time I use symmetry. And let's just see what it looks like in the UV editor. So there they are. That's what I got from Zbrush. What I'm going to do is let's just go and hit it with UV, and I'll hit camera based, and then I can go in here and grab, say, this edge loop, and I do a good job of edge looping. Almost. Did that actually do it? Shouldn't have done it. Anyway, whatever, I'll hit cut, and then I'll grab these things and I'll hit unfold, and I'll hit layout, and it laid it out into the 0 to 1 area for me. Great. Anything else about this bothering me? No. You know, do a check, make sure they're not right on the edge. Okay, great. And sometimes you hit the button a couple different times, you get slightly different variations. And we'll say that's good for this one. So File, Export, Selection. Mandibles, export, yes. Let's zip over to ZBrush, and if I hit import, then I can hit mandibles, open, and it looks like nothing happened, nothing weird happened. Sometimes the size will change, and you have to go and import it in a couple of times. I've even imported it in 5 times over, and then suddenly the size gets right. Anyway, if I hit D, I will still have all that sculpting detail that I put in here. Okay. Oh, and let's turn off the polyframe. Great. Turn it off. And I'll go down to the lowest subdivision level. And if I go down here and I go to surface now, let's go and put a little bit of noise on this. And you can see, oh, I should have done that in higher level. Got a few different things going on in my head. So I'm going to go here to noise. And I've got about 1 million polys on this. You can't see it, but over here someplace tell me I've got close to 1 million. I need lots of polys to make this work. The noise scale, you can crank it up or down. And I could also go in here to noise plug. And I could pick out something like, I don't know, if I want some granite. I'll hit OK. You don't really see the granite doing anything. Well, it's hard to tell what it's doing. Let's go increase the strength. Okay, and you can see when I do that, that there's actually this extra line right here. 3D, I'm going to switch to UV, My strength is still pretty heavy-handed. And there's this little mixed basic noise. When I do this, it goes down to the granite. When I go down to 0, it basically turns off this other noise scale, the default scale, the base scale. And I go this way, and then it shows me the plug-in scale. Or actually, sorry, it's the other way around. This is my noise, basic noise scale. This one here goes, and I've just screwed it up. There we go. So, then I can take the plug-in scale and I can make this smaller, bigger, just kind of see what I like. And I can magnify the strength. I can go the other direction if I wanted to as well, make it pop out. I don't know if granite was the best choice here, so let's go back and I'll go to edit. When I do this, granite, how about erosion? Just something to break up the surface a little bit. And just looking to see if there's anything else that might grab my fancy. Okay, there. Oh, I like this. And so then I can play with this basic scale up and down. I was looking better down. I kind of like that. And then I can mix in that other noise and blend them in together. Oh. And then I'll go ahead and anything else. Strength is too heavy. It'll be okay. I'll hit OK. And so there's the basic thing. Right now it hasn't actually applied to the mesh until I hit this button here. What I usually like to do is go to layers, and I go and I make another layer, and then I go and I apply to mesh. And there we go. Now we can see it, and maybe it bumped out a little bit too much. Well, now I can take the layer and I can knock it down to like half. See how does that? Oh, I like that better. Okay, it looks nice. It's kind of creaturey. I could even bring it down further, whatever. And then when I'm done, I just go over to Bake All, and it bakes it right onto the mesh. Okay, so now the next question is, how do I get it back into Maya? Okay, so I just got to go down to the lowest subdivision level. Then, if I zip in here to, well, we know my UV maps work already. Okay, we don't need to look at that. If I go to displacement map, I can hit create disk map. There's my displacement map. It's also going to make a texture map at the same time that's just white because I don't have any textures on here. So this just doesn't matter. Just going to do that. Nothing you can do about it. You turn this off, it turns off the displacement map. So, and then I can hit export. And here it is. There's a little trick here. It says mandibles obj, but if I switch down here to Maya MA file, and instead of putting this into scenes, I'm just going to do a weird little trick where I put it right directly into source images. What's going to happen is it's going to export out my geometry and my textures at the same time. And this way I'm just putting my texture where it needs to go, and then I don't have to rehook it up later on. Anyway, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to hit Save-Ola, and it does it. Let's go back into Maya for a second. And I'm just going to get rid of this. I'm going to do new scene, don't save. Or I could even do file, open scene, and because I just went in there and I put this one into source images because that's what I was doing. I could probably move it over if I wanted to, whatever. I'm just going to hit open, don't save. And there they are. Okay, let's just hit F and take a look at these things. Okay, so they look okay. My UVs are laid out. Anything funny happen? I'm just gonna mute the picture. Where is it? Dim image so I can see what's going on. Sometimes you'll notice that when you bring it in, here I'll hit 1. You can see all these hard edges on here. The UVs will split up when they come from Maya in to, or when they come from ZBrush to Maya. I'm just gonna go and use cut and sew and hit merge. There, they merge together. Also, it always comes in faceted, typically. So I'm just going to go here to Mesh Display and hit Soften Edge. Okay, great. That's 9/10 of my battle right there. Okay, let's just check it out in V-Ray. If I go to V-Ray right now and I hit Render, little Renderoo, okay, I get nothing proper because it's set to Arnold or something like that. So let's just go over here, Render Settings. Oh, it's even on Software. Okay, and I'm going to go back here and hit Render, and there's what V-Ray does. Now, these things are looking kind of funny. Okay, so there's a couple different ways I can do this. The most basic one, actually there's two really basic ones. I'm going to go for this one though. I'm going to go into the attribute editor. Let's do this. have this thing floating on the side. Here, I'm just going to unlock this. I really hate it when my attribute editor is locked to the side. I'll just lock that again. Okay. I like it always floating around in my window. And let's just delete the history. And when I did that, it killed V-Ray, so I'm just going to stop it, and then I'll start again, and then everything's fine. Okay. Up here in the attributes, on the shape node, it says mandibles shape. Okay, V-Ray, I can put on displacement, subdivision, and displacement quality. As soon as I do that, I start to see something happening. Looks like I might have something wrong there. Just hold on a second. Should I also put on open subdiv? Does that do anything? Not really. So my UVs are having some issues down here at the end. That's a shame. Okay, but it's good. And what's going on right now is the displacement map is automatically hooked up because I made an MA file. And if I go here, there's a blin. A blin is a default material from days gone by that no one really uses much anymore, but this used to be the mainstay material that everybody would want to use. And here in the color, it's got a map on it. Okay, it's that white thing that I was showing you earlier that it made, so I'm just going to break that connection because I don't actually need to see that. Okay, and if I go and I hit this little button right here, it's going to take me up to the shader group. In the shader group, in the displacement material, the displacement map has got something hooked up to it. There's that map we made in Zbrush. Okay, and sometimes I'll turn off that quadratic filter type. Sometimes you'll see this thing puffs out. Actually, I've got a problem right here. My sRGB space is off. And I don't know why this happens, but it does. Settings and preferences, preferences. If I go to the color management, enable color management. Okay, and I'm going to hit save. Okay, because it likes to do that. Okay, let's try and find that again. Back this way, over this way. And I can change this. Sometimes I need to change it to like raw. Okay, maybe I wasn't paying attention. Why is raw not giving me anything? Okay, whatever. And see, is this updating? It is. Okay. And if I go down here, this is a TIFF file. If I go into color balance, what you'll see down here is there's the alpha gain and the alpha offset. And these are controlling the amount of displacement you're getting on the surface. If you were to just attach this map directly on, typically this will be sitting at 1, and this will be sitting at 0. And you start to get this weird puffy thing. I don't know what the hell that is. Actually, I'm just going to check, would sRGB do a better job? No. Okay, so typically, and when you bring this down, you start to notice it coming down, but it still won't look quite right. And what's going on is here in Maya, if I go to 0, that's black. And if I go to 1, that's going to be white. In ZBrush, 0 is middle gray. So what I've got to do is whatever value is sitting here in the alpha gain, I've got to make this negative. And also the weird part about it is -1/2. So if I got right here, I've got 0.4. If I go down here and I make it -0.2, this is how I start calculating what I have to do with my displacement map. See, that wasn't it. So let's go down, and I think it was 2, and this one here was 1, something like that. They actually gave me the number right at the beginning. They gave me like almost perfect numbers. And so what if I took this and I took that up to say 0.22, puffed it out a bit. Actually, what was it originally? I can't remember now. I'm just going to undo until I get back to it. Okay, 1.6 and 2.12 there. But there's still something funky about those ones at the very end. That feels like it's some kind of UV problem. Because it did it. This is one of the reasons why you always want to hide your seams. I didn't put my seam in the right spot, I guess. And wonder if there's any way to fix that right away here. Anyway, that's the basic process of getting it in. I might even consider when bringing it from ZBrush to Maya. You see right here, like these are a bunch of triangles, right? And they're gonna go in and do funny things anyway. So what if I did something like instead of doing it this way, file, oh, let's go back to ZBrush for a second. because I've got kind of low polys on here, and I got, this thing's pretty low. Like, how many polys on this thing? It's telling me I got 260, so I could probably go up a level. Okay. Easily go up a level. I'm just seeing how these points look here. And then go ahead and go here into geometry, delete lower, so this is my lowest subdivision level. And if I go down to the map and I hit create disk map, whoop, gives me a different displacement map. I'm going to go up here to export, and I'm going to take this out as an MA. I'm going to call it mandibles again. Yes. And let's go in here to File, New Scene, Don't Save, File, Open Scene. And this one was in the source image folder, which I probably should import into my scenes folder, but whatever. Don't save. Okay, so there they are, and I think I've got ZBrush finger. Okay. And let's just go ahead and try this again. I'm just going to open up the renderer here. It's on software, flip it to V-Ray. Then I'll hit V-Ray, show V-Ray frame buffer, render it, and right away those are splitting up. And that's the same kind of thing I was mentioning earlier, going in and taking the mesh display, softening the edge. Actually, softening the edge immediately brought those together. Okay, and then what else? I might go in, and I actually don't see a problem with my UVs, so if I go into the UV editor, you will see they're all split up. If I go and I grab them and I hit cut UVs, it's actually this button right here. I have it on my shelf. If I go and hit merge, okay, and you don't see anything happen here when I do that, but sometimes that helps, just having less seams. And also just delete the history, and as soon as I do that, it goes black, so I got to reboot it, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, it's not looking too bad, but it's still, you see those weird hard edges. So let's go in here to the attribute editor, and if I'm on the shape node, attributes, V-Ray, subdivision, I'm opening all four of these at once by holding down Control at the same time. That keeps this little menu open. And now, yeah, now they're still a little bit puffy at the end. God damn it. Okay, I might have to toy with this for a little while, but I'm going to stop my video now.